So the first one is a plasma cutter. You might notice the brand name on that. It's just one of these Lidl, I think, what do they call it? Middle row specials. I saw them advertised. I've been thinking about buying a plasma cutter for some time. And these were, I think it was about 120 quid or 130 quid. I don't know, something like that. But pretty cheap and came with a 2-year warranty. So I've just got this plugged in, and this will be my first thing I'm going to have a little play with. Right, so my first go with this, I got some offcuts of metal for practicing welding. So this is 25mm, I think it's 2mm wall, something like that. So this plasma cutter, I believe we've got to use a proper welding mask for using it, which funny enough it doesn't actually come with. So, and I've got it set on lowest power setting. It's a bit like a welder. You need to put the earth on, so this should all be earthed through here. Just stick it on there, hopefully you'll be okay. Right, I can't put, because this is, I thought I'd be using like full-on welding gloves like these, but I don't think I could actually operate it with those. So I'll use these sort of thermally ones and see how we go. If I set myself on fire, can someone call an ambulance for me? Really not too sure what to expect with this, but give it a go. Okay, so I've adjusted these little wheel things up, so there's about a couple of mil of gap there. Let's give that a go. It's still on minimum power, so I don't really expect it to do a whole lot. And part of what I'm trying to do here is find out what power setting I need on it, so try and make a fairly neat cut. Not as easy as I thought it would be. Okay, so we're a few days later now, after my unsuccessful first goes. You might be able to see from here I've actually got it cutting. So I'll just sort of show my very naive attempts. The thing I'm finding is, instead of just blasting away the molten metal, it kind of sits there and then welds itself back together, which is what you saw with that bit I had to go back and do, which means it's not making particularly clean cuts. So that's what it sort of looks like after, which is not really much like it looks on the YouTube stuff I've watched. And to be quite honest, if it's going to cut it in that kind of mess, then I'm going to be better off just using a grinder anyway. So I think I might have to have another think about this. It's also making an absolute mess of the end. I mean, these things are consumable on the end, but I'm bloody sure it's not going to end up looking like that within a few minutes. If I just show you the new, they send, when you buy these things you get a few replacements. So that's what the tip looks like at the start. I've only cut this about 4 or 5 times and it's ended up looking like that. So something's going wrong. Oops, I think I'm in trouble. You hear that noise in the background? Yeah, I think I've just set the house fire alarms off. I'm going to be really popular with the missus now. Oh well, I best go eat some humble pie. So this is a slightly odd update on the plasma cutter. I was planning on sort of giving up on the plasma cutter video because the plasma cutter I'd bought, or rather was bought for me, it was my birthday present, it just didn't work. So I contacted Lidl, and after a lot of, well, not a lot, a bit of toing and froing, they suddenly, well, they said at one point I had to contact the manufacturer, who I did, and I never had a reply from. So I went back to Lidl, who, what did they do? I didn't really hear much back from them, just a sort of a holding email. A few days later, through the post, I had a letter from them saying, take this letter with your plasma cutter to your local store and we'll refund you. So I thought, okay, right, we'll give up on that one then. So, all fine and well. That was about a week ago. And today, UPS have just delivered a plasma cutter. So I appear to have a free plasma cutter. Can't argue with that, I suppose. I'll get this out of the box in a minute and see if it actually works. It's certainly a whole lot better than the first one was, because it has actually cut this fairly thick plate. Whether I'm doing something wrong here, that's the end after just cutting that much. I wouldn't have thought we meant to chew through these at that rate. But it's doing something now, so that's good news. I'm going to get a bit of thinner plate and give it a better chance. It's going to have to get hot. So I think what's happened there is where this is already a right old mess, the airstream coming out is really wide. It certainly makes stuff hot, but I think with a little practice could be quite useful. So very first impressions of my second cutter is we're going for that. With a bit more practice, hopefully I can get it going. I suppose I've lots of practice with a grinder over the years, so, but yeah, it's certainly cheap and that can't expect too much. This is a sort of just a subscript. Couple of days on, and I've been playing not much more, just a little bit more with that plasma cutter, and I'm now getting cuts like that, which I'm really quite happy with. I'm not too sure what happened before. Well, I don't know what happened before, but so my original was this, and I would now say definitely that. That's going to be really quite useful. Well, my second favourite tool is just been turning the air blue. That's why I haven't videoed it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with this bloody thing. When it works, it's brilliant. But I just seem to have so much trouble getting the bloody thing to work. Once it starts going, it's great. If anybody uses one of these plasma cutters and has got some tips, please let me know. I don't know what I do differently when suddenly it decides to work and it's actually quite good, as opposed to being an absolute bastard. I've looked at the YouTube channels and that, and I can't find anything on them that tells me what I'm doing wrong. I managed to work out what the problem has been with this. After chewing up endless ends, I thought, you know, it's almost like there's not enough air coming out. So I checked, there's nothing settings on the front, so I checked on the back that I had the switch set on here, and I did. Then I noticed this little tap here, which is if you're using an external air supply. But I noticed this tap was at an angle like that, and I thought, well, that's strange, because normally taps like that, if you want them in the off position, are either directly vertical or horizontal. Anyway, I just moved that around. Oh yeah, and I felt, and sure enough, there was a gale coming out the back of here. So I closed that off, and then of course, instead of the air coming out of there, it was then coming out of where it should be. And this is reinstated as my second favourite garage tool. It is really good again. It's working and it's really good. I think I might just tape that up, because I think what might have happened, because it was working then it wasn't, where this is kept in here, I reckon when I quite possibly bought those discs, when I put them there in their storage place, I reckon I might have knocked that with one of the discs, which has caused me all the hassle. Anyway, so we're back on to it being a definite thumbs up. Thanks for getting to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the subscribe button, and if you've got a couple of quid spare, hit the tip jar button and help keep the channel going. Cheers, bye.